so it was an unneeded action, if you will. And again, not trying to offer any opinion or interpretation, just simply trying to recall the context. if you will.
That is correct, that's why we didn't take a
So
vote.
does that mean that going forward, that when we have new schools, we'll just do it by an unneeded action? And that we won't have a vote,
Well,
we'll
let's
just have a consensus?
fast forward to the next school in
Right.
line right now,
Right,
Battlefield
Battlefield,
Park.
right.
And so you would not need to take any action
True.
for that school to be Battlefield Park. So to answer your question, yes, that is correct.
Right.
But do you also, Mr. Reds, do you have the authority as a board without changing your policy? You know, do you have the authority right now for Battlefield or any other to name it something else? You absolutely do.
But the question is, do we have the authority to just go on consensus? That's not what Robert's rules say. Consensus has nothing to do with this, making an official name in the school. Number one, the question is it a new school? Number two is, are we gonna follow policy?
All right, let me restate. It was determined it was not a new school by council. It was also, excuse me, I should say that, it was determined by council that we did not need to take a vote. And we could just do it by consensus at the time. If the board agreed, in fact, I think you were chair at the time. If the board agreed, and the chairman did, believe, comment publicly, that, the board was in agreement that we weren't gonna change the name. This is a better way of saying it, just straightforward saying it. So when you keep saying you consensus and so forth, legal advice was, you didn't need a vote. Legal advice was, it's not a new school. Legal advice was, you're replacing an existing school. Now, you can
Which one do we
argue.
replace, a Henry Clay?
The reason I'm saying all that, you can debate and feel free to debate, but basically, we followed legal counsel. What legal counsel
What's legal
said.
counsel say today? I don't know.
I haven't asked her.
Do we have any writings over time?
Legal
More
counsel
minutes?
says this is a new
So
school.
I wasn't here, okay,
No, it was Yvonne
I
Wilson.
wasn't a part of it, right, and I understand that there is audio on your board docs from a November 2018 meeting where you guys talked about it with the community, Mr. Hunley was the chair, and there's some mention of it being referred to that the replacement, they call it the replacement school will retain the name of Gandy. And nobody sort of contradicted or challenged the statement, and I think Mr. Hunley said that he wasn't aware of any desire to make a change, but there was no official action taken. I haven't been able to find any documents to reflect the details of Ms. Gibney's analysis, so I don't know the genesis of why she said what she said, so I can't elaborate on Ms. Gibney's guidance to the school board.
Well, I think too, my 2 cents on this right now is we don't know if we're gonna build the school on time yet. We don't have the money yet, and, I think it might be rushing it a little bit, even to have this discussion. I mean, we're having it, that's fine, but we're still trying to figure out whether we're gonna build it. If we miss the financial mark, we're gonna be pushed back to 24, 25? So this is me personally, I don't see the urgency of whether to have the name discussion on something that we're really not even sure of when it's gonna open.
Well, we're still calling it Gandy, Clay then, or Clay Gandy. I mean, let's get a name for the potential place.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Gill,
Yes, sir.
our last school that was built was,
Laurel Meadow, Kersey Creek.
which one?
Laurel Meadow, yeah.
Okay, so Laurel Meadow took students from which schools?
Pole Green, Battlefield.
A combination of schools, right?
Yeah.
And that combination of schools, the board came up with a new name.
Correct. It was a brand new school.
So Gandy and Clay is a combination of 2 schools.
Well, every school,
It's a combination
every
of
school
two
that you
different
build
schools,
is gonna
right?
have another
So
other
why
schools
wouldn't
in
you
there.
think that a new school, a brand new school, is gonna be built on a different site than any existing school right now, even though it is
No,
on
it's
the
gonna be
same,
built on the same site. That's
right,
just-
of that
On the same
one.
sites, on the same piece of property.
Property,
That's
right,
the
right,
same
on the
site.
property, not tearing anything down, right. But you've got
We
two
are-
existing schools coming into one.
Mhm.
Just like you did, Laurel Meadow had maybe a combination of 4 coming into one. So my rationale is, wouldn't you start with a new name?
So petty.
And the answer,
I'm just trying to follow the way Laurel Meadow was done.
well, look,
Or-
when you look at it, here we go again. You can take Jersey Creek,
The pettiest thing.
Yeah,
Colvin,
yeah.
all of them made up of former students from other schools. If you look at it, we're centralizing our schools. And I can go into the history of why we have had 2 schools in elementary, in Ashland, because there was a history there, it's the community wanted the 2 schools. Didn't want Henry Clay to go away, didn't want Gandy to go away, they didn't want anything. They wanted the 2 schools, and that was based on the community input. And also, if I may, you correct me if I'm wrong, also, if I may, the community input this time around, same thing, is we had folks that, hey, okay, fine, I want Henry Clay, I want Gandy, then many of the folks said, hey, I'll leave it Gandy. So the community supported the decision. So as we do, all the time, we go out and we do surveys and we talk to people, so forth, about the name, we get community input, because it's gonna be their community school. Okay, just like, I mean, we do it in all our schools. And yeah, that's what we did. And at the time, it was Gandy. So that's why we planned to name it John M Gandy. Now, just like I think someone said earlier, if the board wants to change it, that's fine. And we can do it.
Just wondered, 8 years will have passed before it gets opened, since that decision was made by a previous board.
And again, all that's fine,
Right.
Steve, I mean, it's all fine, but, I'm giving you the reasons why it was done.
6 years.
Yeah,
Can I
give you and, if the current, if the current board wants to change it, you can. But I don't think we should, I mean, sometimes I get the impression it's like, how did you do this, you're trying to pull the rug up, so you snuck something in. No, here's the history behind it. And also, again, I'll say again, why the fever to change the name now when we don't even have we can't even approve the construction? I would advise you have this decision or discussion at least we start get approval to start building the darn thing. I mean, why all of a sudden, why is the interest being the second? Why is the interest now? Why is it push, gotta do it now?
Why defer it?
Huh?
That's why he got on this.
Why defer it?
Why not? You've got 3 years. I mean, you gotta have.
You keep on calling it the Gandy Clay Gandy, and so Mr. Sutton would like to say
Please,
something.
please call it the Axel School from now on. All right, Mr. Sutton.
2 points. One, I really agree with you. We can put this on. But secondly, I wanna give my 3 cents for,
Please.
it used to be 2 cents, but with inflation.
You don't make that 10 cents?
I'll first acknowledge that there's another side to what I'm gonna say, but to me, this is a new school, and we have policies on how to name new schools, and we should be following that policy. Now, I never heard anybody complain when we followed that policy in renaming the 2 schools down on Lee Davis Road. So why should somebody complain now if we follow that policy?
Good question.
I have an answer.
Anybody
Can
got
I-
an answer?
Can I read the actual wording of the policy for you? It says, effective with this policy's implementation and for facilities yet unnamed, no school building, school room, blah, 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 shall be named for a person living or deceased. So facilities, I mean, this is gonna be it's a new building, it's a new facility, it's housing a new population of students.
But it really isn't. That's the main difference between the 2 situations.
It's
The
not
main
a-
difference is between Laurel Meadow and this school is that you are basically housing the same exact population of students from Henry Clay and Gandy as you are currently. In Laurel Meadows' condition, it was a redistricting situation where you were drawing people from all these other schools to send to Laurel Meadows. So that is one of the significant differences. The other difference would be similar to Battlefield. When Battlefield is replaced, when Beaver Dam is replaced, you know, we're not planning currently a redistricting for either of those situations. We're replacing those schools because they're on a capital improvements plan to replace.
But they're not named after individuals.
I understand.
But
Do we need to define what facility is?
My resolution also was think ahead, think on the road. Okay, my concern, being a Patrick Henry alumni. I don't want Patrick Henry to go away.
You can always suspend the rules at any point in
So
time.
you want us to
suspend the
change it
rules.
and then suspend the rules?
You can suspend the rules, that's what it says right in this book. I challenge any of y'all to get this book and read it.
Oh, I've got it.
Okay, well, read this book and then tell me why in the world you can suspend the rules. But my thought is.
So you want to suspend them for Washington
We
Henry?
can suspend them for Washington Henry if
And
you want
Patrick
to.
Henry, but you don't want to suspend them for this?
I'm saying you can if you want to, but let's live by what the policy says. The policy says we've gotta do this. And if you don't wanna live by policy, fine. Say we're not gonna live by
I
policy.
think we ought to change the policy, saying we can't use that.
You don't have to change the policy to do it. All you gotta do is say we suspend the policy for this school.
Okay.
Well,
You live by
what
policy.
does the board think?
Mr. Chairman, I think we should stick with our policy of trying to end these meetings by at least 8 o'clock at night. And I like your idea that we need to put this on hold for now. This is not urgent to get done immediately, and we're not gonna get it done here today.
Right.
We're not gonna get it done today, but I really hate to see us keep on kicking it down the road. I mean, we've got enough issues to deal with without kicking one that we can get over with and get it done.
Lisa,
As
we
I
got-
came out, being on the north side of the room last week, you know, it's like, get her done.
All right?
We got a definition of facility, a legal definition.
All right,
That seems to be
what
the
does
issue.
what does the board wanna do? Take Mr. Sutton's suggestion, let's,
Yes.
okay, we take Mr. Sutton's suggestion to pause it, discuss it further, and get it done. And that's the first one, and I'll put Mr. Reds as a second. First one is pause it, just continue to discuss it, and, work on it later. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Laura's yes. Yes.
I think we need more information. That's why I asked Ms. Seward. I was actually semi-serious.
So that's a yes.
Yeah, because we got Mr. Hunley's definition of facility,